the official Thermaltake Australia podcast. In today's podcast, we have another first-time story. We will be discussing game leaks and how they can be demoralizing to developers. And lastly, we're going to discuss some new curfew laws for online gaming. But, of course, for the podcast today, you are joined by me, your host, Sarah. And we are also got on the pod today...
Myself, I guess. Gamer Dad Jono. Can I use that?
That's your official name now.
Yeah, I'm back on the podcast. This is an official episode for me, so ha!
Yes.
And I am Gillian.
Yay!
Hi, guys.
Cool. So, yes, this is Jono's technically a second time.
Yeah.
But sort of, first and a half, really.
I'm going to go with first time.
Yeah.
Official.
So, true. But your first, properly videoed one. Because the last
People
one
can
was
see
on
me. It's a bit
Yeah,
nerve-wracking.
you're all exposed now.
It is.
Oh,
it's a bit weird.
You can no longer be yourself. You can't live your own normal life.
No, behind the camera is where I live.
no.
I
Yeah,
do enjoy that
true.
little nook.
You're safe.
It's great. Don't have to worry about makeup. Don't have to worry about hair. I
Yeah.
just press record
And
and it's all
doesn't
good
matter.
normally.
Yeah. I have to worry about all of those.
Yeah, that's right. God.
Goddamn boys.
I know. It's ridiculous. And hopefully the room stays a bit cooler today because Jono has had some problems with needing some blotting paper in the past.
I can feel the radiation
heat.
coming
It's
off
already
him.
I run hot.
So, yes, hopefully it stays nice and cool for you. But I feel like it's already getting warm, actually.
That's okay. It's all good.
Because I'll just do this.
We'll just
Just
do
fan you
some
down. We should get a fan or something
We
just to be like,
should.
You can cut to me and we'll go closer and closer as the sweat beads
Just,
start
yeah,
running
yeah.
down from my head.
Focus on one.
we need an ice pack just for you.
Oh my gosh.
All right, cool. So as it is Gillian's first time on the podcast, though, that does mean you have to go through our Thermal Talk official hazing ritual, which is you have to tell us all about your first time getting into PCs, whether it be gaming or more tech, whatever brought you into it.
Yep.
So what was it that kind of got you into this world, as it were?
Wow. Probably started off when I was very young. My brother got me into it. So I think maybe when I was 6 or 7, we got our first PC. And I was just playing the usual, first was solitaire and all that.
Oh, yes.
Oof.
And then I think my brother started getting these floppy disks that had games on them and actually bought some today.
Yes.
I bought some show and tell, guys.
Continued the props.
Hold
yes.
up. Show people.
Show the class.
Does anyone know what
Yeah.
these what these were?
Can you see them? Probably my first ever games would have been these games. So the first one is the Lion King game. And this other game, probably you guys don't know, is Quarantine.
Yeah, no, never
Negatory.
heard of it.
Yeah.
No.
So I was pretty young playing this, so I vaguely remember playing them. I remember the Lion King game was awesome, so that was the best game ever back then. Quarantine, I think I was very young to be playing it. I think it was back then probably over 15-year-olds should be playing it, and I was 7 or 8.
I think it says PG-13 on it.
It says PC, parental caution. 13.
Yes.
Right.
So I started playing those types of games, and then I think when it would have been my brother first bought the first Ghost Recon around 2000 and I would say 2?
No idea.
2000, 2003.
I don't even remember the first Ghost Recon.
No.
Remember 2.
If you remember, what was it called? There was another package with it, Siege or something, Desert Siege or Island Thunder, I think it was.
Ooh.
When I was really young, my brother was playing, and he was actually in a clan and was full into it.
Oh, wow.
Every night he was playing it. My dad was cracking the shit at him. He's get off the computer, and I'm just sitting next to him watching. I was
Get off
just
the
loved.
computer. Stay on.
Yes, leave.
I just loved watching him. And then a couple of years later, I think I started playing. And we just had our own little clan, and we just take turns and play and stuff.
Oh, that's a bit cute.
And then when I was maybe 10, I don't even remember how old. I don't know when the first Medal of Honor ever came out. The Allied Assault.
Yeah, I remember that game. I played that too.
It might have been like
no idea.
2004 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I started. That was my first ever PC game that my brother bought me for Christmas.
Aw, that's cute.
So then
Jim.
I was hooked. I was very hooked. Thanks to Jim. Shout out to my brother Jim. It's your fault.
I thought you just said you were cooked. I was like, Abby.
Hooked.
I was just cooked.
I was hooked onto Medal of Honor for a couple of years. It's my favourite game by far. And then I think I got Call of Duty 2 after that.
Nice.
I liked my first person shooters. And I played that for a couple of years, and then I got into high school, and I think I just stopped year 7, year 8, and then from then on I had like a huge break, not playing PC games.
It's like just like me.
Yeah, and I only just started maybe 2 years ago, and then I started working with you guys, and I'm back at it again. Got my own build of my own PC built.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Yeah.
that's did you play Battlefield when you were younger, or was it just Call of Duty?
No, it was just Call of Duty.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so Battlefield I didn't get into until Battlefield 1.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then now the new ones. I think before I started playing again, I started playing Day of Infamy. I don't know if anyone knows Day of Infamy.
No, not at all.
And it was
No.
it was funny.
So infamous apparently now no one knows.
I actually bought it on my Mac because I was doing, obviously I had a Mac doing graphic design.
Oh yeah.
So like my uni hooked me onto Apple. I started using Apple more, forgot about PC. And I bought Day of Infamy on Mac and I was playing it on there. It was so funny. Like, it was just weird playing just with like a wireless, the Apple keyboard and the mouse.
Yeah, that'd be
That's such
so-
a weird combo.
Yeah, I know how weird is that.
It's like a because
I don't know
wait,
how
they don't
I
have
did
two
it.
clicks, right? They only have the one mouse button, right? It's just one big.
I mean, I think there's no like line down the
divider.
middle. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there is the two
Okay.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to double click, I think, for. I don't
So you
actually
couldn't use
remember.
the old hit the Windows key and Alt tabbed out of the game excuse.
No.
When you were
Yeah,
bad. or
no, you
anything
just
like that.
No.
just could do it
I just
being
had to
bad.
smash the computer and just somehow.
I see.
Yeah. I don't even know how I played that game on the Apple. Yeah.
No,
I don't
that's
know how I did it.
amazing.
And I think I just came so accustomed to it. Like I was probably the only person doing it so difficult.
The only person literally in the world
Yeah.
who's playing that on a
On
Mac.
Mac. Yep.
Yeah, I still find Mac's weird that there's no like actual computer. It's just like all in
The one.
That just
the
freaks
monitor.
me out. I just
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. I don't know. They weird me
weird.
out.
Well, there's the trash can ones. There are different models that.
The trash can.
There's one called the
Yeah.
trash can where it's like it literally looks like a very like glossy trash can. It's black.
I've never seen that before.
But they're very underpowered still.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. They did a great job in advertising it to
Right?
creatives. Good stuff, Apple.
They smashed it on that one.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it runs better and for sure, all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. But it doesn't really.
Yeah. I think it was the only game I had on my.
Probably the only
Mac.
game you could run.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
true.
was struggling. I remember it was struggling.
Yeah. Well, if you do ever want to go back onto the old battlefields, I do recommend Vietnam because that one was my favorite.
Yes.
I loved that one so much when I was younger. Just like the loading screens had the greatest music ever, and I would just
Yeah.
like dance to the loading screen. But I have to play now.
Oh no!
No.
Oh, it would have been a really long loading screen because you would
They
have just had
were.
a hard drive. So
Yeah, it was
Right.
great. You
I'll
just
be
got
back.
to-
I'm just gonna go cook my 2-minute noodles.
and dance to War, which is a great song.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, I cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
You're gonna say
I don't
something.
know what I was going to say.
I just felt like it was really important, so I didn't want you to
Find it
say
interesting that you two both started off on first-person shooters. And like, I don't think you delved into Age of Empires, did you?
No, my it's funny you say that. My neighbor, who's like my family friend, he was obsessed with it, and I would just watch him play, and I'd be like, "What are you doing? Just play first person."
Right? It just looks so boring.
I know.
Why sit there and build civilizations and
can
learn
just
management
shoot
of resources?
I know.
Shoot them in the head, it's fine.
right.
I think
it's
I was
easy.
just a crazy kid. That's
Don't
it.
take that out of context.
No, we do not condone violence. Go, we're like 10 minutes in.
Oh,
I can see it now. Just cut that audio from my
Yeah.
track.
Yep.
Just shoot them all in the head.
Oh, no. Well, we've got to F2, guys. Well done.
That's it.
Whoa.
That's done.
Saucy. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that is true. Like, it does seem interesting because, I was never into RTSs at all. I think the closest I got was The Sims. Nothing like that appealed to me. It just looked so boring.
Yeah, I love The Sims. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then like for a console, I was like playing just the usual Nintendo 64 and Mario Kart and Crash Bandicoot. That was
Hell
the
yeah.
best.
Bit of Crash.
Yeah. And I used to love my Tekken as well. Like that was like later on. But yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Lovely. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a few topics this week to talk about that I thought were kind of interesting. So you guys might not know the full background of this, but recently at BlizzCon, they announced a sequel to Overwatch. And with this, because I follow the news for the blog post we do. Check out the blog, by the way.
Shameless plug.
Just a shameless plug for the blog. Every month I do a wrap up of everything that happens the previous month. And so I always keep up with what's going on. And the leak for this game came out, I want to say, like a month ago, like a month prior to BlizzCon. Like there was talks of this game online for ages before it actually came out. Right down to there were pictures of the icon and like in-game screenshots and everything had leaked before it was even announced. And so, of course, when it was all announced, it was kind of like, the leaks are right. So the lead developer on that, Jeff Kaplan, Papa Jeff, recently had an interview with Kotaku and was basically talking about how leaks affect the developers more so than the people, like the consumers. So he's kind of saying is that leaks are very interesting in that they have more of a moral impact on the team than anything else. It's extremely demoralizing. You feel totally deflated. And he kind of says it's similar to like ruining a surprise birthday party. Like in that they've planned all this stuff, they've worked really hard, and then leaks come out that usually look kind of average. The quality is always average. There's no context, and the people make big, decisions about the game, whether it's going to be good or not, when they've not even had a chance to prove themselves. And he's kind of saying that our artists are heartbroken. They take such care to make the art look beautiful, and then we get some crappy version of the art that looks like what it is, and people are like, I don't know, it doesn't look that good. And we're like, no, it does. It's just a bad screenshot someone took, and how that can really negatively impact their hard work that they're doing. And this has just been happening a lot. Like, games are leaking all of the time. Like, I swear, I know I'm a bit of a Sims player, and recently there's going to be a new Sims pack this week for going to university. And that was leaked about a month in advance as well, and everyone knew it was coming before it turned up. So basically, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about what you guys think about game leaks. Like, have you ever been affected by a game leaking and maybe it ruined your experience with the game, or like your expectations were too high? And what do you guys kind of think of how it does impact the development teams who work really hard and then get their game kind of ruined? Like, is it just like, well, that's what happens?
It's an interesting thing. Like, I've never really had a game that I've wanted to really play get leaked, or I've never really been affected by a game leak per se. So I think more maybe like it's more spoilers for me, but that's a completely different topic. I haven't really had any sort of leak that I can even think of, because I know like the biggest one I can remember is Halo, and I think Halo's had a leak for every single game besides Combat Evolved. Each time they released a Halo, the week prior, it's always uploaded to pirate websites that you could download the full game package.
Oh, wow.
And so the onset for that is the spoilers. So when someone, downloads that and then reveals information about the plot, that's what bums me out. That sort of stuff, once again, it's like sort of separate, but that sucks.
Yeah.
Especially if when you try to avoid it. Then it just blows because like not everyone can go and grab the game on release day, and not everyone can sit down and play it. I more so know that now, being married, having a kid, it's a little bit different. There's like you can't just sit down all the time and play games.
Yeah.
Whereas a kid, it doesn't sort of matter. You normally play that first week, and you clock games. Have 6-hour campaigns nowadays, right? So you could do whatever you wanted when you're in high school, but taking it back to I think. It depends on where you are. I can see sort of how it can be a little bit disappointing for the developers when, you do put all this hard work in and then the leak is actually crap. But, like, how do those leaks happen? Like, I know a lot of leaks are, like, purposeful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I would think that they would do it on purpose just to get that hype around it.
Yeah, like, hype culture is huge. And, like, it does, I mean... For your Sims one, I feel like if you know something's coming in advance, you can put aside money for it and be like, oh, it's coming soon. And, as soon as that releases, I'm going to have the money for it. I can buy it. I can get right into it. Whereas if it comes out a surprise, it's like, oh, cool, surprise. But now, like, depending on how you are financially, I mean, if it's a $10 add-on, I don't think that's, much of a burden. But just say it's like an $80 add-on or something like that, something huge. Then, people are like, oh, I'd love to, like, tear into it, but I can't. I gotta wait until whenever it meets me financially and stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough one because like if you put it like the same issue with us whenever we have like new products and say like there's an embargo for how long and then it gets leaked earlier or even like a day before release date, we get a bit annoyed at that. Like it's kind of like
I mean yes and no. Like I'll speak like honestly on my behalf. I think it ticks off other reviewers actually more than it does for us.
Waiting
because it's all about fairness. And so if someone comes out with it a day before everyone else, they're going to get all the traffic for it, and then everyone funnels through there and YouTube and all the people that wherever the content comes out on, that will get favored. And so I can understand that. But for us, like, I mean. Yeah, if it's too early and like if it is a half-baked screenshot or something, then for sure. Like I can relate with on that term. I don't want you to see this is not done yet.
Exactly.
So don't think this is the final thing.
Don't judge it on this when it's not even going to be what it is.
I do. I mean, I think it carries over to nowadays with like. E3 especially. Everyone knows about what games are coming out, and so E3 lost its its special thing. It's special, I don't know, juice.
Exactly. Yeah. You sit down to watch E3 and you're like, oh, I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming, and it does take a bit of kind of excitement out of it a little. I think.
Yeah. I mean, it did that for PAX, but PAX is its own beast where you don't necessarily go for the new games anymore. It's like go for the culture.
That's it.
Yeah, but for BlizzCon, I mean, it's meant to. I think it's. I've never really looked into it. I'm not the biggest Blizzard fan. The only thing I play is like Warcraft 3: Reign of Chaos, and that's way back.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think BlizzCon is one of those where it's meant to be like a big celebration of all the games and show people the secret stuff that people have been working on.
Yeah.
So it would kind of suck if you're like, oh, I'm looking forward to going, but then everything's like, oh, all the big things that I would have been surprised with.
Yeah. You already know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas I think QuakeCon does a better job. Like Doom, like for id Software and releasing stuff about Doom.
Yeah.
They released a little bit at E3, but they hold really tight reins around it. And QuakeCon comes around, and that's when stuff goes out.
Ooh.
I don't think there's been a big enough leak for Doom other than like Doom 3, but who cares about Doom 3?
Yeah, everyone's forgotten about Doom 3 now, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Or Doom
like
3.
The Doom 2016 version. I think people heard about it being made, but like that's as far as it went.
Yeah.
They were pretty tight-knit around it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because I did remember seeing. I was reading that apparently when like Jeff first came out, he was like saying, "Oh, like I was worried about like forgetting what I was gonna say, but the internet already knows everything anyway, so I don't have to worry about it." I was like, "Oh, But yeah, I'm pretty sure Diablo 4 was leaked as well, so they were both pretty much leaked. But yeah, it is interesting that you say about like purposeful leaks, because I know with The Sims that was a bit weird, because then when the trailer finally dropped, they used a song that was like, it was called or like the lyric was, "I bet you never saw this coming." So it's kind of like, wait, are you being like tongue in cheek because it got leaked, or did you actually purposely leak it? Because it seems like oddly planned to be like, because I think the way it leaked is a bunch of people at like Target and like stores saw the listing like on their like games thing, and they took a screenshot of it being like, what? So like it seems a bit weird. Like that seems like a weird way to do it.
I mean, I find it weird. I do find a lot of like the leaks to be purposeful and with good reason, generate hype. Like I said, hype culture is pretty big. And you can generate a lot of, I mean, Call of Duty for one. Like people still go and like buy that because of all the hype surrounding it. It's not because it gets leaked and whatnot, but
true.
A lot of hype around things can cause a lot of people to go out and impulsively buy just to feel part of like, oh my God, it's coming, it's going to be massive, it's huge, all that sort of
Good
stuff.
point.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It can go either way. Like you can either be like such an amazing game that people will go crazy over, and then but what if like the game comes out and it's shit?
No Man's Sky.
Oh, poor No Man's Sky. I feel so bad for No Man's Sky.
I don't.
Apparently it got better.
Yeah,
Like,
apparently.
it got good eventually.
Oh, really? How long after?
A couple of years.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Poor No Man's Sky.
Yeah. From a designer point of view, I can kind of see where the developers are annoyed by it, because like if I had created this amazing design and waiting for it to be shown, and then someone takes a photo and leaks it or something, I'll be shattered. Like even for an artist or something like that. But like if the person loves the game, like they shouldn't be worried about the people buying the game, because if they love it, they're going to buy it no matter what. So if there's going to be a leak or not, in the end the game's going to come out, they're going to see it, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, this is good, or this is shit. Like, yeah.
I think I remember reading that a lot of the people who worked on this Overwatch 2, for some of them it was like their first kind of big thing that they're part of. So I think he was kind of saying a lot of those guys were really disappointed, because like it was like, this was our first thing, we were so excited to share this with everybody, and now their first sort of look at it is going to be these really bad screenshots that aren't even finished. Because like people were going in and like going, oh, see, look, all the this part isn't rendered properly and this part's weird, and I was like, I mean, it's a leak, like calm down. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
You can't win.
No,
no matter what they do, you can't win.
But I mean, that's focusing on the negative anyway. Like, I mean, if I got to speak to the people that were pretty bummed about it, the thing I'd sort of tell them is it's a chance for them. Well, they've made things better, so when they do release, people will see that it's better. It's only negative now, and not everyone gets to see it anyway. Like, just because a game leaks doesn't mean the entire population knows. Like, there will be totally, like, we get confused. We get, like, I guess, we end up thinking we are in this big bubble, but the bubble's actually a lot smaller than we think it is, and the community around that, they're the people that will be affected, and they know about it. But outside of that, you have people who don't go on the internet, who aren't on Facebook, who aren't subscribed to news feeds, and they're not going to see these leaks. So I don't think it's that bad. I mean, the major fans aren't going to be annoyed. Major fans are going to actually like still buy the game regardless. Like your tier 1 fan, it's like, it doesn't matter if the game's a flop. Like,
I'll probably still get it.
They'll still get it.
Exactly.
And like that's the people who you're making the games for. Obviously, really, they're making games to make money. But like, you know, for the people who, I guess the people who are making the games are making it for the really like true fans, and so they're the people that aren't going to be deterred anyway. Yeah. So I think they focus too much on the negative anyway.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Cool. It gets all philosophical sometimes on the podcast. Great.
Deep diving.
That's right. Yes. Cool. So, on to our second topic of the day, which is kind of interesting. I read about this the end of last week. So, good old go. I can't speak. Sorry.
What language is this?
All right, we'll try that one again, but there's no cuts, so enjoy that.
Like
that'll be my first merch because we got Alex's merch from last week from Mad Loogies and stuff, and mine's just gonna be blip 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 Sarah.
Episode title is blah 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 blah.
Welcome to the Sarah merch.
It's like those two Martians from Sesame Street.
Wait, do you mean like those
Blah, blah,
ones
blah.
that go? Is it yep?
Yep.
They were great. What happened to those
We can
guys?
just superimpose your face on both of those.
Yeah? Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I would really love that. Thanks, man. That's my goal in life. I actually was talking once with someone about doing a cosplay of those two guys and just
wow.
like going to like conventions and just going yep. Never happened, but maybe one day.
Goals.
That'd be so good.
That would be. I'm excited. I got to do it now. All right. So my next topic was last week in the news came out that China is implementing a gaming curfew for children specifically. So basically, the rules are they've been brought in to design to battle against game addiction. I love that I'm reading this off the iPad or not iPad off this, and I still can't speak. So, minors are banned from playing online games specifically between the hours of 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. Under 18s will be restricted to 90 minutes of online gaming during the week, and they can do 3 hours a day on weekends. And then there's also spending limits in terms of loot boxes and in-game items as well, depending on like how old the person playing is. There's actually a similar law apparently in South Korea already. It was like scaled back a bit a few years ago, so it's more like in the domain of like parents have to be in charge of it, but it is still kind of a thing. Parents actually have to apply for permits to allow their kids to play games after midnight, apparently. I didn't know that in South Korea. Apparently that's a thing. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Internet. I'm sure you will.
That would suck, actually.
Right? Yeah, it'd be weird. I have to be like, Mom, I want to play after midnight. I feel like no parents would let you
I mean,
do that.
I think it'd be a quick way to find out if you're a rad parent or not.
That's true, yeah. That's a good way to prove if you're cool or not. So basically the goal of this, though, is to tackle gaming addiction, which is something that didn't even exist really until a few years ago. I mean, like officially exist until a little while ago. Because there's been a lot of issues with that recently as well. Like, I know I read a story a little while ago about some parents who actually sued Fortnite because they think because they state that their kids are addicted to Fortnite. And in the sort of lawsuit thing, it said they basically compared Fortnite to cocaine and tobacco and claimed that Epic knowingly put on the market a very, very addictive game, which is also geared towards youth. So I was wondering what you guys kind of thought about the idea of a gaming curfew. Is that something that you think is kind of silly, or do you think that maybe there's some merit in this idea?
I feel like I'd be biased if I talk about it. Maybe Gillian can lead on this one. She likes rules.
Sure. Well, what are the parents doing? That's what I've got to say. Why do they need a curfew overall? Like, it's just... What? Just your parents? Can't the parents just restrict them from buying or playing games or anything? Like, gosh, maybe they're not strict as my parents were, but...
No, but nobody are.
Yeah, true. God, woke parents.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I just think, like, I don't think that should be implemented. I feel like the parents should take control. If they feel like their child is gaming too much, then stop them. Like, that's what you do. Like, I don't see the difference in, like, other sorts of addiction. Like, say, I don't know, like, if they're addicted to drugs or something like that, like, what are you going to do in that sense? Like, obviously it's a bit different. But
We're comparing games to drugs.
no, like,
I was like, I wonder where we're going with this.
like even like other addiction games like poker machines, I think like we were talking about the other day, where like that they're made for people to get addicted to. It's just, I just find it very stupid. Just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean,
It is weird.
I don't sit on either. Like, I'm right in the middle. I'm sitting on the fence here because,
Yeah.
like, I can see, I can see where parents don't have control of their kids because it does happen. That can stem from a long line of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's never so clear. I mean, we were teenagers, remember?
Yeah,
And like,
yeah, I know.
like you know, it's not so clear. Hey, don't do this, and you know,
They'll
you
just stop.
you stop and you obey. It doesn't work like that all the time. And so, I think by being enforced by law, and higher up, like that definitely holds merit. And I guess you know, the problem with that is it's a blanket, and so a lot of kids who aren't addicted and a lot of you know minors who aren't who are studying right and doing the right thing are now going to be affected as well. And I hate that sort of stuff. Like I always hated like you know when my brother would do something silly and then he'd get us both in trouble and then there'd be
Right.
rules for both of us.
Yeah.
Like it's huge. I hated it so much because you know you spend all this time doing the right thing
Yeah.
and like going the right path, and then it doesn't matter because someone else just screws it up for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, like I guess, and then the other thing is it'll introduce parents who are unsupportive already of games, because they're just like, oh, games are a waste of time. Games, you know, do this, do that, etc. You know, you already know that the older generations aren't really that supportive of games.
Yeah.
They'll be happy for you to watch TV shows and happy for you to, you know, do other stuff. But games has this, you know, negative thing around it still. So I feel like that'll just strengthen those people because they'll already be in a higher position where
Yeah.
they, you know, because I think there's another part to it where they have to get verification.
Potentially.
I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I think the like parents have to verify their identity.
Yes.
It has to go through their phones.
Yes,
or something
I did
like
read
that.
something about that.
So like, oh, I can already see that being like terrible.
Yeah.
I don't have a
exactly.
solution though, so
Yeah,
so
true.
it's a tough one because I think game addiction is something for sure.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think like kids probably don't really know that they're addicted until they get to the really
Yeah.
bad point.
Because if they're starting from such a young age, like I see kids these days from 3 years up on the iPads
On
and
the iPad,
tablets,
yeah.
it is addictive. I can't speak
What
today.
was that?
Sorry, guys.
Chop that one up.
Yeah. Soundbite.
Yeah,
Did you just censor us? I just realised what you did.
no one's gonna understand that.
No.
Yeah, like from such a young age, obviously kids don't know any better. They get addicted to all sorts of things. They get addicted to watching TV and playing these games. So if it starts from a young age, if they are restricted from a young age of how much they're watching TV and playing games, because I feel like both things play in the same part. I think from then that's where kids would learn. Like you got to give that boundary from a young age.
I don't know. I think being taught or educated on game addiction or like how it can be bad for you should be something that starts at a young age. Because like, did you guys hear that a kid actually died from a stroke while playing games?
Wow.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Although, like, look, it's hard. I guess you know. I think it was terrible journalism or whatever.
Right.
You know, they blamed it on the games per se, but his dad, I think, confirmed that he would play games non-stop throughout the night and get very little sleep.
Oh my god.
Would eat, you know, fast food and and like energy drinks, things like that. So, you know, I think and that he ended up, you know, having a stroke and passing away, which is a terrible thing. So, but I guess like I don't know, like if you knew that this would cause you to do that, would you still do it? Probably not. So
Yeah.
I guess sometimes a lot of us learn the hard way, and unfortunately, like that's too hard of a way.
Yeah.
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 my gosh.
So I guess like education, maybe
Yeah.
like just instead of like, because everyone comes at it from a negative standpoint, like you get told don't play games, you're wasted time, like, and that already just piques your interest, like, oh, but I want to play it, and now you know, and now it's already a bad thing, and generally when you do a bad thing, you like feel a little bit like, oh, I could get away with a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and
Exactly.
you know, before you know it, you're playing terrible games like World of Warcraft. No, I'll be shocked for that one. But like, you'll be playing games and you don't even realize that you're addicted because you don't really have that self-awareness, I think. Once you're addicted,
just like any other addiction, really.
Yeah,
You're not really aware of it.
Like, no, I don't do this.
Not a problem. Yeah.
For 24 hours a day. Yes, you
That's
do.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know, for me, I remember the first time I feel like, I don't know, I do kind of agree a little bit in that the onus kind of needs to be on the parents. Not fully. I think education is also a really good idea, but not just for the kids. I think also for parents, because I used to work at a game store, and I'll never forget this instance I had. So obviously with R18 games, we legally cannot sell them to anyone under the age of 18. If they look under 18, we have to ask for identification, and if they are under 18, they still want to buy it, they need to have someone over 18 with them who can prove they're over 18 to allow the person to buy the game. And I remember, I don't know why, out of all the things I remember from my old work, this is one of the stories I just remember. This kid came up to me to buy GTA 5. Yeah. He looked about 8. Like, he was so young, and he's like, I want to buy this. And I was like, oh, well, sorry, like, I can't sell it to you because you're not 18. If you want to go get your parent, like your mum or your dad or someone, and come in, and then I can sell it to you, but I can't sell it to you as you. I need their consent. So he goes off and he comes back in like 15 minutes or so, and his mum is so mad. Like, she is furious with me. She's like, why do I need to be here? Why don't you just sell him the game? And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's an R18 game. I need to tell you that there are sexual references, you know, there are drug references, there's a lot of violence. This is not a game suitable for people under the age of 18. If you let me sell it, though, I can. I just need you to tell me. And she's like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then she just left. Like, she did not care at all. And she struck me as the same person who would, like, you know, see little Jimmy going to the strip club and go, oh my God, what is this? Like, how did you get this? You know, like the same kind of person who would be like, games are terrible. And it's like, well, I've literally tried to tell you this game is not suitable for your child. And I feel like that's the same person who will turn around and be like, games are disgusting. And it's like, well, you're not educated on these games. Like, if your kids want to play games, as someone who used to sell a lot of games to a lot of kids, like, it is important that you understand what games your kids are playing. I played GTA as the same age as that kid, but my dad was in the same room as me. I had to have speakers. I couldn't use headphones, so he would be able to hear and see everything I'm doing. If he heard me do anything inappropriate, he would be like on it in a second and be like, get off. Like, because he played games too. So like, there was never this thing of like, I was never addicted to games because I was only allowed to play during certain hours of the day anyway because I had to go to bed. But with my dad was there pretty much the whole time, like keeping an eye on me and my brother, making sure that we were playing, games that weren't.
You're not picking up the wrong people.
Exactly. Exactly right. And like, I think I've always had a very positive experience with games, probably for that reason. I've never been addicted to a game. I've never spent copious amounts of money on loot boxes that I can't afford. And of course I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but I just, that instance of that woman yelling at me for doing the right thing and trying to tell her that this game probably isn't appropriate for your kid, just kind of really like showed me, like there are some people out there that just don't.
They don't really look too far into it, but they're the same people that take their kids to like R18 movies and MA15 movies. Like the ones that take them to Deadpool.
Oh,
and
really?
Like, there's so much violence in this. I thought it was a superhero movie. Can you do your research,
Deadpool.
Please?
I know. Like half the time they don't do their research. So like, what do you expect was going to happen?
Yeah.
Did you hear about when all these parents took their kids to see Sausage Party?
Oh,
Because they thought it was like a cartoon. And they're like, what is that hot dog doing to the bun?
Oh no! Oh my
it's
God.
like,
that's so funny. That's hilarious. I mean, I hated that movie.
I never saw it.
I never saw
love
it
Seth
either.
Rogen, but I mean, I'm sorry, dude, but I didn't like it.
I know.
Like that's the only
Message to
movie I
you,
regret
Seth.
seeing.
It didn't sell for Jono.
it
So
just
do
it
better
didn't
next
do well
time.
for me. Like I happily spent the money for the cinema ticket, and then I think there's only 2 movies I've ever like been disappointed that I actually
Yeah?
went and saw.
What was the other
one
one?
was Into the Woods. I think it was a musical.
I don't
Okay,
even remember that.
rings a bell.
Yeah, my
Why
wife.
is
I think it has James Gordon in it. I want to say that, but I'm
Oh.
terrible with my actors and musicians.
Oh,
And anyone.
wait, did you say James Corden or James Gordon?
Gordon, but I think that's guy
Who's James
from
Gordon?
that's from Gotham.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that?
Corden the
Yeah, the guy that does the karaoke stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
him,
Corden,
him,
yep.
Corden. There we go. See,
Commissioner
he's
Gordon,
in there.
James Corden, very similar.
It's like a full musical. So
Oh, okay.
my wife dragged me along to that. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, there should be some songs in it. I'm like, all right, whatever. Okay, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never
And then Sausage Party was the
Sausage
second
Party.
one. It's just terrible one. But I do find it hilarious because I mean the funny thing about that is if you just watch the trailers, because I think the trailers did a good job of making
It
it
wasn't-
seem
yeah.
like oh, it's a funny
It's
movie.
a funny romp.
Yeah.
Haha, Nick Minute.
Yeah.
There's a bit of
Yeah.
there's a douche in there, and he's getting all up in all sorts of things.
Oh, my
Um,
God.
It's
Well,
great.
There you go. There's
Yeah.
your weekend viewing, everybody. Boy.
Got to read those ratings, but I must admit that I sometimes don't even see what ratings most of the movies are. So
Oh, when you get to our age, it doesn't matter.
yeah, obviously no, but even
Unless
when
you bring along kids.
Yeah.
obviously yeah. Now when you bring your kids, you gotta watch out.
Yeah. I mean, even then, I think Sausage Party was like MA. Like, it would have been at least 15 plus. Like, how did that not click with anyone that it's
I don't know, was
probably
it-
not Shrek?
Was it or was it R?
It might have been.
I reckon it was
I think it was R18.
I mean, there's some.
understand.
You haven't seen it, right?
No.
Oh, there's some stuff in there, so
I
I
just
would
thought,
assume so.
I don't think it would get past our, nanny state or nanny country regulations with games and movies. So.
oh, I just
Nanny.
Oh no,
Yeah,
there's a bit of
I don't
violence in the MA.
don't get me started.
Another
It's a
topic
bit
for another
like,
podcast.
yeah, legit.
I know.
Legit. Have you ever walked out of a movie or anything? I never have. I've always wanted to, though. I feel like it'd be fun.
Like to then walk into another one.
That's true.
Actually, yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Really?
yeah, when I was really young.
Oh, I've never done that before.
But not
Once.
not out of
Once.
disappointment. It's either the pee or go to another one.
Okay.
I did it. I was manipulated by another crowd of kids.
Oh, she
Peer
led them.
pressure.
She was ringleader.
Peer pressure.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I've never done that. I know I recently watched, I would have walked out on this film if I'd seen it in the cinemas, but I didn't, which was the new Fantastic Beasts movie. When I watched that, I was like, yeah, I would have walked out in this.
I haven't seen it.
And apparently people did.
Oh, really?
Like, I was watching this review from someone on YouTube, and they were saying that in their screening of it, people were literally walking out. Like, they were just, like,
damn.
leaving. I was like, that's
That's
unfortunate.
that's not good.
No.
Terribly.
Yeah, I have been in a movie where people were walking out. I think it was for, what was it called? The new one with Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, the...
Wolf of Wall Street.
No.
I don't think Brad Pitt was in there.
Brad wasn't in there.
See,
What's
I'm
it
terrible with
called?
my actors. I work with cameras.
I'm
and
so
big
bad
into
with
film,
names.
You're
but-
more interested in what the camera's doing than what the actors are doing anyway.
Yeah, I'm more interested in
Like,
special
oh, what a
effects.
wide shot.
Like, oh wow, look at the composition there.
Oh my god, why have I gone mental blank on what it's called?
Is it that one?
Because it must have been that bad, huh?
No, I loved it. I loved it.
Is it? It's all where they do like old Hollywood,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh,
Once
yeah.
Upon a Time in
There
Hollywood.
we
Yeah.
go.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, I loved it. And
You
then,
walked out.
yeah, people were walking out.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, what the Sorry. I forgot.
Sat what?
sorry,
59
guys.
minutes 60. That's okay.
At least I did it at the end.
That's true.
I've been trying to hold myself the whole time.
I think we did a good job. I think we didn't do too bad. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably about it. But we're still on the quest for a good outro. So have you guys got any
An
ideas for
outro?
me? Yeah, a good outro. So far we've got, temperature gift or whatever,
Oh no.
which we will not talk
Good one,
about.
Taylor.
Yeah.
That Taylor.
Taylor.
I mean, he got creative, so
He did. He worked really
Temperature
hard on
gift.
that.
I don't want to slam him
I
too
felt like I
hard.
could see his like that meme with that girl going, and it's got all the like math numbers. Like I felt like that's what he was doing while he was doing that. And then Justin's offering, which was what? Stay cool. That's what we got. So what do you guys
Stay cool. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how
I
to.
feel like we just need like a zinger for the end. Yeah, but I don't know.
And that was a whole lot of talk and a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I know. Whole lot of talk.
2 stars. Whole lot of talk. Whole lot of
Thanks
nothing.
for listening to a bunch of oofed.
A bunch of oofs. Yeah, well, make sure to check us out on all our socials, Twitter, Instagram. Join our Discord. That's always fun.
Definitely add us.
And yes, tell us about how wrong we are about everything. It'll be great.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's about it. Is there anything I missed?
That's it. Was that an hour?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
A little under.
I hope I haven't blown out your levels. So if you're listening in the car, I hope it's been a relaxing.
Yeah, I hope we haven't
I
assaulted
didn't-
your ears.
I didn't do my smooth voice and my sultry smooth FM.
If you do join her gold tier Patreon,
You can get access
you can
to
get
these
access to that and a lot more.
ASMR.
That wasn't really smooth.
Give us a bit of ASMR to
I'm
finish
her
it.
only backup.
Gillian.
So that's
Wait,
okay.
I'll do some AS.
Bit of Gillian ASMR to finish it off. Here it comes. There you go. That's not a bad outshot.
I think that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, we'll have to bring you in each week to drink
Jono's
some
like
water.
traumatized.
The weird thing is I'm going to listen to this in post. So
Yeah, we're going to have to listen
I know
back to
I'm
this.
going to hear that.
I'll keep going crazy.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Well, I guess that's it then.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye, bye. Cool. That's it. We did it.
Done.
Hooray! Thank you so much for sticking around all the way to the end. We do hope you enjoyed this episode of Thermaltake. If you want to join in the discussion or maybe even submit a topic for us to talk about in future, make sure to jump over to our Discord. We also do weekly giveaways there as well. Remember also that these video podcasts are available audio a week earlier. So jump over to our Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Podcasts to listen earlier. And we'll catch you on the next one.